Prince Charles once admitted he had been put in an unpleasant position by putting his head above the parapet on issues such as climate change, for pushing his message ahead of becoming king, according to a royal expert. Mr. Brazier noted that there were concerns Prince Charles would continue to push his message against climate change when he was king. Ms. Seward disagreed and said the Prince of Wales was anxious about doing this as king. Because of this fact, she said, he is being more vocal now in hopes of giving a strong final push. Mr. Brazier said, as a great believer of the Prince of Wales, I still find myself defending him in the newsroom to people. Those people who don't believe he is just going to shut up and sip it when he becomes king. Ms. Seward replied, I really think he will, and I think that is why he is so anxious to just push his point and keep pushing it. He is going to the COP26 summit in Glasgow at the beginning of November with his mother the Queen and other members of the royal family. I think he thinks he has to make a really strong push. He said he sympathized with all of the people who are driving us mad by lying on motorways. But then, of course, Prince Charles doesn't have a problem. He has never come across them on a motorway or been trying to get to a hospital when someone you know and love is dying. He has never come across any of that, so I think he should have avoided that question. I really felt that Charles is saying what he thinks now, and to hell with what the world thinks about him. He wants to get his message across. The first Earthshot Awards are to be given out at a ceremony on Sunday hosted by Dermot O'Leary and Clara Humphreys. The star-studded event at London's Alexandra Palace will honour prize winners in 5 categories. The recipients, who have been selected for their innovative solutions to overcome environmental problems, will each receive £1 million to help take their projects forward. In many ways, William, who is spearheading the project, is continuing Charles' decades of commitment to the environment. Despite Charles' good intentions with his campaigning, which has included lobbying politicians, the future king has drawn backlash over his environmental concerns, which some have viewed as straying into the political arena. The Prince of Wales addressed his predicament in a recently unearthed interview with Vanity Fair in 2018, which coincided with his 70th birthday. The writer of the article, James Reginotto, includes some written correspondence he received from Charles. In one letter the prince wrote, I don't really see any value in saying, I told you so. As a teenager, I remember feeling deeply about this appallingly excessive demolition job being done on every aspect of life. In putting my head above the parapet on all these issues, and trying to remind people of their long-term, timeless relevance to our human experience, never mind trying to do something about them, I found myself in conflict with the conventional outlook. The prince added that this is not exactly the most pleasant situation to find yourself. Charles also admitted that climate change and other crises keep him awake at night. He added, one of my duties has been to find solutions to the vast challenges we face over accelerating climate change. However, it seems to take forever to alert people to the scale of the challenge. Over 40 years ago I remember making a speech about the problems of plastic and other waste. But at that stage nobody was really interested, and I was considered old-fashioned, out of touch and anti-science for warning of such things. If we don't engage with these issues, and many other related and critical problems that they inevitably compound, we will all be the victims. Nothing escapes. Charles' role, including his vocal opinions on climate change, will likely change when he becomes monarch. He has previously denied claims that he will be a meddling monarch or an activist king once he succeeds the Queen. In recent times Charles has still made his feelings on climate change and environmental issues known. The BBC this week published an interview with the heir apparent at his home in Balmoral. Charles told the broadcaster he understood the frustration of climate activists and why groups like Extinction Rebellion were protesting. However, he also appeared to warn against tactics such as blocking motorways that have been used in recent weeks by Insulate Britain, an offshoot of Extinction Rebellion. He added, but it isn't helpful, I don't think, to do it in a way that alienates people. So, I totally understand the frustration. The difficulty is how do you direct that frustration in a way that is more constructive rather than destructive. Charles, 72, is well known for speaking out about climate change and humans' impact on the planet. His son, Prince William, 39, is continuing his father's legacy with the Earthshot Prize he launched last year. The Duke of Cambridge explained that his father and grandfather, the late Prince Philip, had inspired him in his conservation work. He said, my grandfather started caring a long time ago about the natural world, and my father's spoken a lot and cares about the environment. The Prince of Wales has said he understands why campaigners from organisations such as Extinction Rebellion take to the streets to demand action on the climate crisis, but has called for more constructive rather than destructive methods. In an interview with the BBC, Prince Charles said actions such as blocking roads, used in recent weeks by the Extinction Rebellion splinter group Insulate Britain, isn't helpful, but he said he understood the frustration they felt. Extinction Rebellion branded Charles the Prince of Business as usual must remain activism and said its tactics were working. He warned of a catastrophic impact if more ambitious action was not taken on the climate, adding he was worried world leaders would just talk when they meet in Glasgow for the 2021 United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP26. The problem is to get action on the ground, he told the BBC's The Big Interviews. Asked if he sympathized with Greta Thunberg, the climate campaigner who has also criticized leaders for failing to act, he said, "Of course I do, yes. All these young people feel nothing is ever happening, so of course they're going to get frustrated. I totally understand because nobody would listen and they see their future being totally destroyed." He said he understood why groups like Extinction Rebellion were taking their protests to the street.